Hi, my name is This is my Exercise Science 250 Lab Midterm Practical. This is Chad. He's a 25-year-old computer science graduate. For his job, he pretty much sits all day, so he has some mobility issues and some back pain. He wants to work on overall strength and coordination, and then because he did graduate recently, he doesn't have as easy access to a gym anymore, so we're going to be doing some exercises that he can do at home with minimal equipment. First exercise, we're going to be doing a Turkish Get-Up with a kettlebell. You can do this with a kettlebell or a dumbbell, but we're going to be using a kettlebell in the next exercise as well. To start, we're going to be laying down with one arm above us and then one knee bent, and then the other arm kind of goes like out to the side, maybe at a 45-degree angle. And then we also want to make sure that our wrist is like in a neutral position, not far back and too far forward. So the technique is to start laying down, and then we'll do it without the weight first, so we can practice. So you're gonna start laying down, arm above you, just like that. Push up onto your elbow and then your arm, making sure that this hand is like staying in line with the shoulder. Then this leg is gonna come through, and you're gonna push yourself up into a lunge position. Can you back up a little bit? Thank you. You want to make sure that the knee is in line with the ankle. You don't want to be forward or behind it. And then you're going to stand up. And then you're going to reverse the process, going back down into that lunge. And then kind of sitting back onto your butt and your hand, going to your elbow, shoulder, and then back down. You want to make sure that your wrist is aligned with your shoulder the entire time. So with the weight, it kind of looks like this. So push up. Go. And then stand. And then reverse. So good job. Here, all the way back. So we have two phases. We have that like standing up phase and then the lowering phase. The purpose is for full body stability and control, and then it also works on like shoulder mobility. We're targeting like the core, the glutes, the rotator cuff, the quads, the lats. It's pretty much like a full body workout, and then we want to make sure that the kettlebell is aligned with the shoulder, not like moving out or in too much. We want to really work on that stability. And then for corrections, it'll be making sure that it stays in line, making sure that like your knee is in line with your ankle before standing up from that lunge. And then for sets and reps, we're going to do 3 times 6 on 3 sets of like 6 reps on each side. We're going to start with like, because he wants to work on strength, but then also because he's not used to the movement, so we want to make sure we really focus on the like the overall technique. Okay, you ready to go, Chad? Okay, you're going to do 6 on each side. You're going to do 6 Turkish Get-Ups on each side. You want to take your phone out of your pocket? Make sure that this arm is like laying flat on the ground, so like palm facing down. Good. And then bring it down a little bit. Yeah, so you can really push it on. Nice. Beautiful tap. Not rushing, not moving. Yeah. Push up again. And then make sure that when you're in this lunge position, your knees in line with the foot and not like moving forward. In line with the foot. Good. Then stand up. Beautiful. And then back down. straight. Make sure it stays on top of the shoulder. You got this. Oh. Oop. Keep it in line with the shoulder. Nice. Good job, Chad. Watch that knee. Watch that knee. So it's not. You got it. You got 6.
Watch that.
Okay. Our second exercise is a 2-arm kettlebell swing. So we're going to be using a kettlebell. For our body positioning, we want like feet shoulder width apart. We want to keep our back neutral, our arms straight. We want to have a slight bend, but it's a hinge movement, so we don't want to go too far down. So it's more of a squat. We want to make sure that we're really working those hamstrings and hinging. A good way to think about that is like shutting the car door with your butt. Yeah. So then you're gonna do your loading phase, and then you're gonna do like your ascending phase, your lifting phase, and then return back down. So your loading phase is that hinge, and then bringing the arms down, making sure not to be in a squat position. And then here, you're gonna use the momentum to bring yourself up. Good job, Chad. And then control the way back down into that loading phase again. The purpose of this is hip power and posterior chain strength. So the muscles we're targeting are like the glutes, the hamstrings, the erector spinae, and the deep core. And then we're looking for a excessive knee bend resulting from that squat, or lifting with the shoulders. So instead of using your momentum to go up, you would be lifting with the shoulders. Does that make sense? We want to avoid that. And then also just not really hinging. We want to make sure we're hinging. We also want to make sure that our knees are just slightly bent. We don't want straight legs, but we don't want too excessive. Yes. So our first exercise was but they were in the sagittal plane because we were kind of just flexible. We were also in the transverse plane because we were rotating to get up, whereas this one is purely sagittal, so it's simply just flexion and extension. So bending and then extending. So we're gonna also do 3 sets of 6, working on strength, and then we really want to focus on technique. Because he doesn't have the best mobility, we're going to really look for that excessive hip bend or knee bend if he has it, and try to start that. You ready? Okay, go for it. Beautiful. So our cues are making sure that he's coming all the way back down. Beautiful, keep going. And then using that momentum and stopping at the top, not letting it go too far back. Good job, Chad. Keep the legs a little bit less bent. Hinge. Yes. Beautiful. So that takes perfect. You don't have to keep it. You can stop after 6. When you're coming down though, instead of bending the arms, just kind of go back into your loading phase and then set it down, because we don't want, especially with a heavier weight, we don't want your arms to take off. That makes sense? For our final exercise, we're going to be doing bird dog. So we're going to start with kind of kneeling down. Our hands are going to be in line with our shoulders, and our knees are going to be in line with our ankles. All you really need is a yoga mat and then your body weight.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to kind of be like a table. So you're going to extend the opposite arm and the opposite leg to kind of create that flat table. You want a neutral back. You don't want to be too arched or too hollow. So you're going to...
Oh, yeah.
And then
What's it going to
extend, hold it for a second,
Yeah, we'll do that.
and then go back down.
What do you want to do, right?
Hold it for a second, go back down. That makes
I've been in there for like yoga class, but
you want to put like your arms going past your shoulders or behind it, and then we also
Then did you do yoga for
don't
violation?
want that back arm. The last thing you want to look for is
no,
kind
it
of
is,
like
dude. I'll do yoga sometimes by
your
myself.
pelvis and shoulders not
I have like a mat and everything.
So if you like go and you kind of like don't want to go back, you want to make sure go full time. Does that make sense?
I'll roll out.
We just went over common areas. To correct that, you want to make sure that the core is engaged before we start the movement, and then we want to do it really slow and controlled, making sure not to rush through it. And then you have like the different phases. You have the extension phase, then you have an isometric where you just hold it for a second, and then you're gonna go back into like the tongue position. Cool? Okay. Go for it. We're gonna do 3 sets of 8 on each side, but we're only gonna do like 1 set for the purpose of this video. So make sure your elbows are straight, and then you want your shoulders in line with your wrists. Yeah, and then you want your knees in line with your hips. So bring your knees in. There you go. Make sure your back isn't rounded. No, don't round your back. And then go opposite arm over the leg. Beautiful. And then go back. And then keep doing that. Oh, that worked. Good. That's 1 on each side. You want 7 more on each side, okay? Nice. So see how you kind of started tilting there? Keep your hips square. And then don't round that back out. Keep it straight on the roof. You got this, Chad. Nice. Good. So the muscles we're targeting are the transverse abdominis, the core, the glutes, and then the posterior deltoids. Good job, Chad. Try and really keep those hips square. Don't like, and then make sure your arms are straight as well. Nice. Keep going, Chad. Your knees are getting like really close to your elbows, so move your knees back a little bit and kind of like lengthen out your spine. Is that comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay. That looks a little better. Go a little bit slower. Yeah, go a little bit slower. Tighten the core before you go for that extension. Is that 8 on each side? Okay, perfect. Good job. So what we're gonna work on is like that hip. Oh, are you okay? Okay. We're gonna work on like his hip, kind of like when he extends this hip, he kind of like twists and rotates. We want to make sure we stay really tight. So, you want to give that like 1 more try. I want you to focus on when this one comes out, kind of like keep it down. Keep the hip down and extend it. Yes. Beautiful. Good job, Chad. You can take it. Oh. Yeah.
Woo, Chad!
Good job, Chad.